Since Barack Obama took office, the government has become one of the largest conglomerates in the world, with holdings that now include the largest automakers, General Motors and Chrysler, and the largest mortgage companies, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Now Obama Inc. is on the move again. This time they are protecting their holdings at the risk of another economic crisis. Obama and the Democrats claim they are reforming Wall Street, but what is really going on? If they were serious about preventing another economic collapse and taxpayer bailout, they would have done something about the root causes of the collapse, the bad lending practices at Fannie and Freddie. For years, Democrats stopped all attempts to reform Fannie and Freddie. The failure to rein in these giants led to the mortgage-backed securities crisis that caused the economic collapse and resulted in millions of Americans losing their homes. But what Democrats call the most comprehensive reform of Wall Street since the Great Depression doesn't touch is two of the greatest contributors to the economic crash, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. While Congress and the President rail against Wall Street and say never again, Fannie and Freddie have quietly continued down the same dangerous path under their new leader, Barack Obama. They are forgiving loans to those who simply walked away and, incomprehensibly, making loans to shaky buyers under subprime lending standards. Reason would argue that fixing the problem should start with these Goliaths run amok. Unfortunately, Obama and the Democrats are motivated more by their self-interest in Fannie and Freddie than by getting reform right. Need proof? Fannie and Freddie were actually delisted from the New York Stock Exchange during the height of the debate on the Wall Street Reform Bill. These events sparked statements from the Congressional Budget Office and economists that the impending collapse of Fannie and Freddie could result in another bailout that could reach a stunning $1 trillion, an amount even larger than what was needed during the economic collapse. Unbelievably, Obama and the Democrats completely ignored this glaring issue in their overhaul of the financial system. Obama's leadership is compromised by his ownership of Fannie and Freddie, the ultimate conflict of interest. Why ignore the root cause of the collapse in their so-called reform? Because Obama, Pelosi, and Reid want to protect their interests, even if it comes at the expense of real reform or the American taxpayer. Perhaps most outrageous is the fact that Obama's Wall Street Reform Bill is forcing billions of dollars in new fees on banks and consumers to pay back the bailout funds the government does not expect to recover. So, what is the hole that needs to be filled by these billions in new costs for banks and consumers? It's the money owed by the Obama Inc. companies, Fannie, Freddie, GM, and Chrysler. And guess which companies Obama and the Democrats decided don't have to pay their bailouts back and are exempt from their new fees? That's right, Fannie, Freddie, GM, and Chrysler. What's the common thread? They are all subsidiaries of Obama Inc., and their so-called reform creates a slush fund for the Obama Inc. business plan. Some reform. So what does this mean for you? Don't ask Obama or your congressman for the answer. The new law is over 2,000 pages long and was negotiated behind closed doors. Most Democrats admit they haven't read it. It would have been harder to vote for it if they had known what was in it and, most importantly, what was not. No reform of Fannie and Freddie means there is no guarantee that a collapse won't happen again and increases the likelihood of another massive bailout. More government, more bailouts, a weaker America. Bad for you. Business as usual for Obama Inc. Obama, Pelosi, Reid. We can't afford more failed leadership. Help right change support candidates that will stop the madness and bring Washington back to its senses.